My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes in life, we meet people who wear a smile on their face, yet carry poison in their hearts. They speak sweetly, but their actions slowly drain your peace, your faith, and your dignity. At times you may wonder, why does my heart feel heavy after meeting them? Why do I feel uneasy around them even though they never show me open hatred? That feeling, that whisper in your soul, could be Allah's warning to you. Allah says in the Qur'an, "Indeed, some of your companions are enemies to you, so beware of them." This is a powerful reminder. Not everyone who sits beside you wishes well for you. Some people may smile at you, but behind your back they tear you apart. Some may claim to support you, yet in reality they wait for your downfall. And sometimes Allah shows you subtle signs. Their words never match their actions. They push you away from your faith instead of bringing you closer to it. They are present in times of ease, but vanish when you are in hardship. If you ignore these warnings, you may end up trusting someone who will betray you, hurt you, or even distance you from Allah. My beloved friends, never forget this. When Allah removes someone from your life, it is not a loss, it is protection. You may cry over the friendship that ended, the relationship that broke, or the bond that shattered. But perhaps that very bond was a rope pulling you into darkness, and Allah, out of His mercy, cut it away before it destroyed you. Trust in the wisdom of Allah. If He warns you about a person, don't argue with your heart. Don't chase those who have shown you their true face. Protect your faith, protect your peace, and protect your heart. Instead of asking, "Why did they hurt me?" ask, "What is Allah teaching me?" Maybe He is teaching you that your worth is not in the hands of people, but in His hands. Maybe He is teaching you to seek sincere companions, those who remind you of Him, not those who take you away from Him. So today, remember this: when Allah whispers to your heart that someone cannot be trusted, listen. When He shows you repeated signs about their true nature, don't ignore them, because trusting the wrong person can destroy your dunya and your deen. And above all, keep your trust in Allah alone, for He will never betray you, never leave you, and never let you down. There is a lesson life keeps teaching us again and again: not everyone who smiles at you is sincere. We grow up believing that kindness on someone's face means kindness in their heart, that a warm handshake or a soft tone must surely mean loyalty, honesty, and love. But as we journey through life, we begin to see the cracks. We begin to notice that some of the sweetest words hide the sharpest knives, and some of the widest smiles are masks covering intentions that would shock us if we could see them clearly. You see, a smile can be a beautiful thing. It can heal a broken day, it can comfort a restless soul, it can open doors to friendship and love. But when it is not sincere, when it is just an act, it becomes dangerous. It becomes a tool, it becomes a cover for betrayal, envy, or manipulation. How many of us have experienced this? Someone who treated us with respect in public, but the moment our back was turned, they tore us apart in private. Someone who showed support for our dreams, but deep inside, they were waiting for us to stumble so they could feel taller. Someone who called us brother, sister, friend, but in the end only used those words to get closer, to gain our trust, and to strike when we least expected. The truth is, sincerity cannot be measured by the brightness of a smile. It cannot be judged by how many times someone says, "I care for you." Real sincerity shows itself in consistency, in actions that match words. In presence during your hardships, not just in your celebrations. A smile is easy, it costs nothing, it requires no sacrifice, but sincerity demands truth, loyalty, and sacrifice. And this is why Allah reminds us in the Qur'an that some of your companions are enemies to you, so beware of them. Because He knows we often judge by appearances, we often trust by gestures, and we often ignore the warning signs He places before us. Think about the times you felt uneasy around someone, even though they treated you kindly. Think about that heaviness in your chest that appeared after every meeting. That was not paranoia, that was not weakness. That could very well have been Allah protecting you by stirring your heart. He was reminding you that not all smiles are sincere, not all friends are true, not all companions are loyal. And maybe, just maybe, this is why we sometimes lose people unexpectedly. A relationship ends, a friendship breaks, a bond suddenly fades. At first it hurts. We wonder what went wrong, why did they leave? But later, when the dust settles, we look back and realize those smiles were not sincere, those words were empty, Those hands were never meant to hold us up. Life teaches us to look beyond the surface, to pay attention not just to what is said, but to what is done, to value not just a friendly face, but a loyal heart. A person can smile at you and still envy your success. They can smile at you and still pray for your downfall. They can smile at you and still betray you without hesitation. So the next time someone smiles, don't just look at their lips, look at their actions. Don't just listen to their words, watch their consistency. Don't just feel flattered by their praise, ask yourself, do they stand by me when things are tough? Do they remind me of Allah? Do they want good for me, or do they just want something from me? Because not everyone who smiles at you is sincere, and once you understand this, once you stop judging people only by their outward gestures, you will save yourself from much pain, betrayal, and disappointment. There is something we often forget when we go through life. Allah has already warned us in the Qur'an. Many of us think that the Qur'an is simply a book of rituals, a text we recite during Ramadan, or a collection of rules that are hard to follow. But in reality, it is a manual for life. It is a guidance, a light, a shield. Inside it are not only laws, but also stories, reminders, and warnings that are as relevant today as they were over 400 years ago. And one of the most powerful warnings Allah gives is this: indeed, some of your spouses and your children are enemies to you, so beware of them. Surah At-Taghaban 64:14. Now think about that. Allah is not telling us that enemies only exist outside, in battlefields or in foreign lands. He is reminding us that sometimes the test is much closer. Sometimes the person who holds your hand may also hold you back from Allah. Sometimes the people you love the most might unknowingly push you into disobedience, tempt you towards sins, or make you compromise your faith for their approval. This is not to plant suspicion in our hearts, but to remind us, do not let love blind you from truth. Do not let relationships become chains that drag you away from Allah, because loyalty to Him must always come before loyalty to anyone else. And this warning is not limited to family. In other verses, Allah tells us that the hypocrites are among you and you do not know them. Imagine that. People who sit beside you, people who pray beside you, people who act like companions. Yet in reality, their hearts are far from sincerity. It is a chilling reminder. Not everyone who appears close to you truly wants the best for you. And that is why the Qur'an is filled with lessons from the stories of the past. Look at the story of Prophet Yusuf Joseph, peace be upon him, who betrayed him, not strangers, not outsiders. It was his own brothers who smiled at him, who pretended to care, but secretly burned with jealousy. They threw him into a well, left him to suffer, and returned with fake tears to deceive their father. If Yusuf, a prophet of Allah, was betrayed by those closest to him, do you think you and I are safe from the same tests? Look at the story of Prophet Musa Moses, peace be upon him. How many times did his own people, the very ones he was trying to save, doubt him, complain against him, or even turn their backs on him? Allah recorded these stories so that when we face betrayal, when we face people who smile at us but secretly harm us, we don't feel alone. We realize that this is a reality of life and Allah has already warned us about it. And perhaps the greatest warning of all is about Shaitan himself. Allah tells us clearly, indeed, Shaitan is your enemy, so take him as an enemy. Notice how Allah didn't say Shaitan might be your enemy. He didn't say sometimes Shaitan is your enemy. No, He said it clearly, absolutely, without exception. Shaitan is your enemy, yet how many of us live our lives as though Shaitan is our best friend? We follow his whispers, we obey his suggestions, we allow him to come between us and our prayer, between us and our Qur'an, between us and sincerity. And when someone smiles at us, tempts us, or encourages us towards wrong, we forget that maybe they are being used as tools of Shaitan against us. This is why the Qur'an's warnings are so important. They are not meant to make us paranoid. They are not meant to make us distrust everyone. They are meant to sharpen our vision so we can distinguish sincerity from hypocrisy, truth from falsehood, loyalty from betrayal. And if you look carefully, Allah's warnings are always paired with His mercy. He warns us not to harm us, but to protect us. Just as a loving parent warns a child, don't touch the fire, don't walk into the road. Allah warns his servants, don't trust blindly, don't follow the wrong path, don't be deceived. He has already given us the signs. He has already shown us through his words and through the stories of the prophets that appearances can be deceiving, that not everyone who smiles is sincere, and that not every companion is a friend. And if we take these warnings seriously, we will walk through life with wisdom. We will guard our hearts, protect our faith, and learn to place our trust where it belongs. Not in every human being who flatters us, but in Allah who never deceives us. One of the greatest mercies of Allah is that He does not leave us blind. He places signs in front of us, subtle signals, patterns and feelings that help us recognize who is sincere and who is not. The problem is we often ignore them. We excuse people's behavior, we silence our own intuition, we convince ourselves that maybe we are imagining things. But over and over again, life teaches us. When someone is untrustworthy, the signs are there. So what are these signs? How do you recognize when a person's smile doesn't match their heart? The first sign is inconsistency. Notice the difference between their words and their actions. Do they promise one thing and deliver another? Do they speak kindly in front of you but act differently behind your back? An untrustworthy person often hides behind flowery speech. They say the right things because they know that words are easy, but actions over time reveal the truth. If someone constantly says, "I'm there for you," but disappears when you need them most, their loyalty is questionable. The second sign is how they handle your weaknesses. A sincere friend will cover your faults, protect your dignity, and guard your secrets. An untrustworthy one will use your weaknesses against you. They may laugh at your struggles in front of others, share things you told them in confidence, or hold your past mistakes over your head. Pay close attention. Does this person make you feel safe, or do you feel exposed around them? The third sign is envy disguised as support. Some people will clap for you when you succeed, but if you look closely, their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. They may give you compliments, but always with a hidden sting. "Mashallah, you're doing great, but don't get too proud." Or they downplay your efforts. "Anyone could have done that." These are not words of someone who truly wants the best for you. They are words of someone who feels threatened by your growth. The fourth sign is absence during hardship. It's easy to surround yourself with people when life is good, when you're successful, when you're giving. But the real test of trustworthiness is who stands by you when you're at your lowest. Do they check on you when you're struggling? Or do they vanish until you rise again, only to return when it benefits them? Allah teaches us through hardship who is real and who is not. And sometimes the silence of others during your pain is the loudest sign of all. The fifth sign is influence. Pay attention to how someone's presence affects your faith, your peace, your focus. A sincere companion brings you closer to Allah. They remind you of prayer, they encourage you towards goodness, they make you feel calm and uplifted. An untrustworthy companion distracts you. They invite you towards sin, they make you compromise your values, they push you to ignore your conscience. If someone constantly drags you away from remembrance of Allah, this is not a coincidence, it is a sign. The sixth sign is patterns of betrayal. Maybe they gossip about others in front of you. If they can betray others, what makes you think they won't betray you? Maybe you've caught them lying once or twice. If dishonesty is a pattern, trust will always be broken. A person's history often reveals their future behavior. Don't ignore repeated behavior just because you hope they will change. And the seventh sign is the feeling Allah places in your heart. Sometimes you cannot explain it logically. Sometimes a person hasn't done anything obvious, yet your soul feels unsettled around them. That heaviness, that discomfort, that unease, it could be Allah's way of warning you. It could be His mercy protecting you before harm reaches you. Our hearts, when connected to Allah, can sense what our eyes cannot see. Of course, none of this is to say we should live in paranoia. Islam teaches us to have good thoughts, to give people the benefit of the doubt, to be fair and kind. But at the same time, we must not be naive. Allah Himself warns us that some people wear masks, some people play roles, and some people are sent into our lives as tests. So when you see these signs, don't ignore them. Don't silence the alarm bells in your heart. Don't let empty words blind you to harmful actions, because Allah gives us these signs for a reason to guide us, to protect us, and to save us from deeper wounds later. One of the hardest truths we struggle to accept in life is this: when Allah removes someone from your life, it is not punishment, it is protection. We live in a world where we are taught to hold on tightly, to fight for relationships, to cling to people, to never let go. So when someone walks away, when a friendship collapses, when a bond we thought was unbreakable suddenly breaks, our hearts feel shattered. We think, why did this happen to me? Why did they leave? What did I do wrong? But what we often fail to see in that moment of pain is the mercy hidden inside the loss. Sometimes Allah takes people away because He knows what we cannot see. He knows the conversations behind closed doors, the envy hidden behind smiles, the betrayal that would have surfaced later if He hadn't cut the tie sooner. He knows that if you had continued with that person, your peace, your faith, your future might have been destroyed. And so, out of His infinite mercy, He removes them, not to break you, but to save you. Think of the story of Prophet Yusuf Joseph, peace be upon him. His brothers betrayed him, threw him into a well, and sold him into slavery. At that moment, it must have felt like the worst kind of abandonment by his own family. But years later, Yusuf looked back and realized that what seemed like loss was actually Allah's plan of protection and elevation. Without being removed from those brothers, he would never have reached Egypt, never have risen to power, never have been reunited with dignity. Sometimes separation is the doorway to elevation. We also see this in our own lives. Maybe you lost a friend you thought would be with you forever. Maybe a relationship ended and you cried yourself to sleep for weeks. Maybe someone betrayed you and you couldn't understand why Allah allowed it. But look at you now. With time, didn't you realize that their absence brought you closer to Allah? That without them, you discovered your strength, your faith, your purpose? That the peace you feel today is greater than the comfort they gave you yesterday? When Allah removes someone, He is saying, this person was never meant to carry your heart belongs to me. You see, we often build our lives around people. We depend on them for happiness, for validation, for security. But Allah reminds us through loss that no human being can play the role of God in your life. People are temporary, they come and they go, and if we cling to them too tightly, we set ourselves up for heartbreak. So when Allah removes someone, He is not being cruel, He is redirecting your attachment back to Him. Another mercy hidden in removal is prevention. Allah knows the harm that person would have caused if they stayed longer. Maybe they would have led you into sin. Maybe they would have wasted your years. Maybe they would have pushed you further from your faith. But you couldn't see it because you were blinded by love, loyalty, or hope. Allah saw it clearly and He intervened. It's like a parent pulling their child away from playing near a fire. The child may cry thinking, why did you stop me? I was enjoying myself. But the parent sees the danger, the child cannot. That's how Allah protects us. We cry over the removal, but He knows what disaster it prevented. And there's another layer. Sometimes Allah removes someone to make room for someone better. You cannot receive what is written for you if your hands are still gripping what is not meant for you. As long as you're clinging to the wrong person, your arms are too full to embrace the right one. So Allah clears the space even if it hurts, because He wants to give you better companions. Those who lift you up, not drag you down. So the next time you face the pain of loss, pause and ask yourself, what is Allah protecting me from? What wisdom is He teaching me? What space is He creating for something better? Because when Allah removes someone, it is never random. It is never meaningless. It is always wrapped in wisdom, even if that wisdom takes years for your heart to understand. Betrayal, even the word itself carries a heaviness, doesn't it? It's one of those wounds that cuts deeper than most because it never comes from a stranger. It always comes from someone you trusted, someone you let into your heart, your circle, your confidence, and when they break that trust, the pain feels unbearable. But here's the strange thing about betrayal: as painful as it is also one of life's greatest teachers. It has lessons hidden inside it, lessons that no book, no lecture, no advice could ever teach you in the same way. The first lesson betrayal teaches is about the reality of people. When you're betrayed, you realize something you may have been avoiding. Not everyone who says they love you truly does. Not everyone who praises you is sincere. And not everyone who stands beside you will stand there forever. It opens your eyes to reality. You stop living in illusions. You stop assuming loyalty is guaranteed. And you begin to see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. The second lesson betrayal teaches is resilience. At first, you feel like you cannot survive the heartbreak. You question how you'll ever trust again, how you'll ever move forward. But time passes and you discover strength you didn't know you had. You realize that your world did not end when they left. You're still breathing, still walking, still capable of love and growth. Betrayal forces you to tap into a strength that only comes from within, and ultimately from Allah. The third lesson is about detachment. When someone betrays you, it breaks the illusion that people are your foundation. You learn painfully that if you build your happiness on people, it can collapse at any moment. Betrayal redirects your heart towards the one who never betrays, the one who never lies, the one who never abandons, Allah. It is through betrayal that many hearts turn back to Him with more sincerity than ever before. The fourth lesson is about wisdom. Think about it. How do we become wiser in life? Not by success alone, but by pain. Pain sharpens us. Pain makes us alert. Pain makes us see patterns. After betrayal, you begin to notice the small signs you ignored before, the inconsistencies, the hidden envy, the way they used your weaknesses against you. You become wiser about who to let in and who to keep at a distance. In that sense, betrayal doesn't just hurt, it educates. The fifth lesson is compassion. You might not realize it at first, but betrayal softens your heart towards others who have suffered the same. Suddenly, you understand the tears of someone abandoned. You feel the ache of someone deceived. You know the weight of broken trust. And this makes you gentler, kinder, and more careful with the hearts of others. Sometimes Allah lets you taste betrayal so that you never inflict it on another soul. The sixth lesson is about priorities. When someone betrays you, it forces you to ask, what truly matters to me? Who truly matters? You start filtering your circle. You stop chasing people who don't care for your well-being. You stop wasting your time on relationships that weaken your faith. Betrayal strips away illusions and helps you realign your heart with what actually counts. Your faith, your purpose, your relationship with Allah. And the seventh lesson, perhaps the most powerful, is forgiveness, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Carrying the poison of betrayal in your heart only hurts you, not them. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean letting them back into your life. It means releasing the anger so you can heal, so you can move forward, so you can leave the matter to Allah, the best judge, the best reckoner. Every betrayal carries a mirror. It shows you who they are, but more importantly, it shows you who you are becoming. Will you let betrayal make you bitter, suspicious, and cold, or will you let it make you wiser, stronger, and closer to Allah? That is the choice you are given. So yes, betrayal burns, but inside that fire are the lessons that can purify your heart, elevate your wisdom, and redirect your trust back to the one who never betrays.